Now, I've seen quite a lot of FPL managers this week planning to use their wildcard, and I'm not necessarily condoning it, but I want to help those of you that are. So in this video, I'm going to take you through my favourite wildcard draft. Just quickly, before we get into the video, I just wanted to say that all of the expected points data I'm using to drive this team is from Fantasy Football Hub. If you want to check it out or sign up for Fantasy Football Hub yourself, the link at the top of the description will get you 50% off, and Fantasy Football Hub promise you your money back if you don't win your mini league this year. So I think that's a pretty good offer. We'll get into the team now. Goalkeepers and defenders we're going to talk about first. And I'm looking at expected points for the next 5 weeks, basically, because I think that's a pretty good metric in order to pick some wildcard players, right? Now, this is an old screenshot. It's not courtesy of Fantasy Football Hub. I did these graphics for my Ultimate Guide video. So obviously, Aït-Nouri is out injured and probably won't score any points in Game Week 3. So this has been updated in the system, but just not quite on this graphic. In terms of defenders, we're looking at Cucurella, Virgil van Dijk, Aït-Nouri and Munoz as the top for the next 5 weeks, right? Cucurella, I've been impressed with the Chelsea defence, but he's 6.1 million now. Van Dijk, Liverpool playing tonight. I'm recording this on Monday because I've got quite a lot to do on Tuesday. So I'm hoping that nothing major happens from Liverpool going into, after this week, so this draft still stands. But I think they've got problems defensively, and until they make some serious signings there, I think those are going to continue. They can't start enough defensive players at the moment. Yeah, when they played their first game against Bournemouth, they had Van Dijk and Konate. They're two only sort of out-and-out defenders. Kirkes and Frimpong more wanting to go. Anyway, I just don't trust the Liverpool defence at the moment. I really like what I've seen from Forest defensively. I know they conceded against Crystal Palace, but it wasn't necessarily a result of really poor defending. Sells had a good game in goal, and I think Milenkovic, he's going to do well for DEFCON this season. Hasn't really produced it too much yet, but I think he will. And he's such a threat from set pieces. I really like him, and I think of all these top defenders here, I would have him in my team. So looking at the goalkeepers and defence then, Sanchez. Now, you could have Sanchez, or do really quite like the Spurs defence as well. What I'm suggesting from this is you might want to pick Vicario in goal as well if you want to double up. I've gone for Sanchez because I think I just like to spread the risk a little bit. You've got 4 different, in the defence here, you've got 6 different or 5 different teams where you can spread the risk in terms of defences. I don't like Sanchez necessarily as a goalkeeper. I don't think he's that good. In fact, I think he's probably the weak link in that Chelsea defence. But Chelsea have proven this season they're solid enough defensively, I think. And yeah, I've gone for him in goal. He's a goalkeeper as well that can keep clean sheets and get the saves points, which I think is a positive. I think Milenkovic is one of the best defenders in the game, so I picked him. Van de Ven, I think at 4.5 million is one of the best value defenders in the game. Before the season started, I would have, and even in previous videos, I would have said that Romero is probably the better of the two. Now, Romero did pick up DEFCON in the game against Man City. I think the only defender to do that. But when you compare them in terms of attacking threat, they seem to be about the same, really, with how they're being targeted from set pieces. So I think he's great value at 4.5 million. I went for Chris Richards. I've been impressed enough with what I've seen from Palace defensively so far. He's also going to get there, I think, with DEFCON in a few games. And if you look over the next 3 fixtures of how these rotate with one another, I think it's pretty nice. So all of these defenders have a good fixture. At least 3 of these defenders have a good fixture over the next 3 weeks. So next week, for example, Game Week 4, when Nottingham Forest play Arsenal, you've got Anderson there against Leeds, for example, and Van de Ven's got West Ham, Richards has got Sunderland. There's a good mixture of fixtures in here. So I quite like the way that they all rotate. So yeah, this is my goalkeeper. Back 3 and bench. I've gone for Mark Gu as well, just so I'll mention him as well. Probably the best 4.5 million attacker. Krupi Jr. I think's had some minutes from Bournemouth, but so has Mark Gu from Sunderland as well. So pick one of them, basically. Midfield, we'll start again by looking at top points for the next 5 weeks. Palmer is mixed in here because I think it's uncertain as to whether he'll play in Game Week 3. I haven't picked him in this team though, spoiler alert. I think you're best off saving the money and upgrading elsewhere. Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Gakpo, Semenyo are namely the other ones on the list. I have gone for Salah. I've gone for Cunha because, well, budget wouldn't stretch to Bruno Fernandes. And I know he hasn't scored yet, but I have personally, I've seen enough from Cunha to suggest that he's going to have a decent goal-scoring season. And I think next 3 fixtures he could do quite well in. Semenyo, I mean, he's probably the best midfielder at this price point so far. Other ones probably being Brennan Johnson and Rodgers. Rodgers has done nothing so far. Brennan Johnson, I think, at some point will be benched, whereas Semenyo, I think he's going to play every game for Bournemouth, and he's got 2 goals and 1 assist in 2 games so far, so I like the look of him. Ismail Assar had a good season last year. In fact, there's a little bit of a comparison I think we need to do on the 6.5 million mids, because there's 2 I think you can pick. And we're not going to look at this season's data because we've got 2 games. I wanted to go back to last season when we have a slightly larger sample size. So Njai and Sarr, I think, are the 2, in my mind, the 2 pickable 6.5 million midfielders. And when you compare their stats with one another last season, for me at least, there's a clear winner, and that's Ismail Assar. Njai got 9 goals, no assists. Sarr got 8 goals and 7 assists. And when you look at the XG they both accumulated, I know he didn't necessarily... I guess it suggests that Sarr's finishing wasn't quite on the money, whereas Njai's was. Sarr massively underperformed his XG. He scored on the Community Shield. He scored against Nottingham Forest. That's 2 in his last 3 sort of competitive games. I really like him as an asset, and I think he's good to pick in FPL. And also, without Eze, I think he could actually become better rather than worse. And then Reinders as well. I mean, you could go for anyone really at that sort of... Well, you could go for him or Anderson. I'm picking him. He hasn't done anything in Game Week 2, but Game Week 1 he showed what he's about, and I think you can pick Reinders. This team should be affordable to everyone, but if you wanted to save yourself 0.1 million, then I'd go for Elliot Anderson. The graphics right now are showing 7.1 million for Semenyo, but I think he's gone up to 7.2 by the time you'll be seeing this video. But regardless, I promise you this team will still remain under the 100 million budget, so even if he's gone up, could even go up even more, you should be able to afford this team as it stands. Forwards then. Top 5 forwards for expected points. We've got Haaland, Watkins, Mateta, Gyökeres and Wood. I have gone for Haaland and João Pedro. Now, Haaland I think is a given for a wildcard team. I think this is the best structure to have for a team. Some decent sort of mid-price midfielders, Salah and Haaland, and then a decent mid-price striker to partner Haaland in your team. I've gone for João Pedro because I think he doesn't necessarily, which is why he's not there for expected points, he doesn't necessarily flatter the stats board. Doesn't get that much XG or XA. He didn't for Brighton anyway. But he just feels like a bit of a star. So I've gone for him, basically. I mean, you could have any of the 7.5 million strikers. I think Mateta will do well for you, and Chris Wood will do well as well. You could also drop, I think, the likes of Thiago for Brentford. There are others as well you could pick. I'm sure you could name them. Strand Larson, for example. But I've gone for João Pedro. I think he's going to be decent for Chelsea already. I think he's already proven he's pretty decent for Chelsea. So then, scores on the doors for this wildcard draft. I'm countering through it quickly because I don't think I need to explain every pick in great detail. I think most people watching this video will know the demographic of the league as it started out, know most of these players and can understand why I've picked them. So this gets 61.9 predicted points for Game Week 3. All of this data, by the way, again from Fantasy Football Hub. It costs at the moment 99.7 million. That could be 0.8 if Semenyo goes up in price. Maybe a little bit more if Haaland's gone up as well. It could be 99.8, 9. You're getting close there, but I still think this team's affordable. There are ways you can save yourself a bit of cash as well. You could drop Reinders for Elliot Anderson, save yourself 0.1. There are ways and means, I think, of building this team regardless. And a 94% AI rating. So yeah, let me know what you think of the draft in the comments. All right, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. If you did, please leave me a like rating on the video. And yeah, if you haven't already and want to see more content from me, you can subscribe to the Goal to Goal channel, which should be just there where I pointed on your screen. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.